All right, so we're gonna start the clock.
Oh, you started before the question. All right. So my question to you, and it's more on the politics side this week. Um, what are the point of political parties? So just to elaborate a little bit more is like, obviously political parties like the Liberal or the Conservatives or the NDP. So basically, almost every MP, I think, is part of a party, member of parliament in Canada. There might be a few independent, which means they don't have a party affiliation. So to me, what is the benefit, the downside to having this party system as opposed to have only like sitting independent MPs?
Okay. I would say the biggest benefit to political parties is that it's easier to reach consensus, and in the sense that if everybody if there's no party line, so if there's no parties, if everybody has a thought on a certain issue and they think about it differently, and there's all these minor differences, individual differences, it can cause a process that's already really slow to be even slower. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Internal consensus.
So by having a party, they meet together and they find, generally speaking, anyways, they find some common ground as to what like it'll be a general idea, like say, let's go with Bill C-51. I'm presumably when that bill came to the House of Commons, the caucus of the Liberal Party met, the caucus of the NDP met, and the caucus of the Conservative Party met before. So the Conservative Party would have met and said, okay, we think this is a good bill. The caucus would have met, and then they would have had a greater meeting, a larger meeting, with the entire party saying, okay, well, this is the bill we're presenting. So this is an ideal world.
So that's assuming that the general, not consensus, but
that everybody.
Yeah,
agrees.
That's assuming that that's not working like how it's commonly believed, where Harper exerts power and the rest fall in line. Like this is assuming everyone has the same sort of.
Yeah, well, obviously the prime minister is going to have more say, and then the caucus. Then he brings it to caucus, and then those people have a more direct say in it as well, right? Because they're in the inner circle. But it is assuming that people in the political party have similar ideologies, which is, I guess, in essence, the root or the basis of a political party is that you have a certain way of thinking. It's more black and white in the United States with the Republican and Democrats. The left is a bit farther. Like in Canada, essentially you have three centrist parties.
What does this mean? Left, center, right?
Okay. Left means more liberal, more open to new ways of doing things. Right is conservative, more or less preserving the status quo. Right wing parties tend to be promote more oil and fossil fuels, and also
so they have more connection to the business world, and specifically the fossil fuel industry.
Specifically the fossil fuel industry, not necessarily the business world, because there's all sorts of businesses, right? There's environmental businesses, there's all sorts of different. But the conservatives are generally the far right, or the people that are set in the way is this is how it's been forever. This is how it should be. The left, the far left, is environmental activists. Um, like in recent history, lesbian, gay would have been considered the far left, and it
Okay.
still is in some parts of the world.
So would it be fair to say these change? Because like
Yeah,
I'm using the American example, but Abe Lincoln was a Republican and he's the president that abolished slavery. Wouldn't that would have been like new thinking, right? So you think in these days that the left leaning
yeah, of course.
parties.
The left leaning parties would have definitely influenced him, even though he's a Republican, because that's a very leftist issue. Because it's trying to stop a system, a way the system works. It's trying to change that.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I kind of took you off course. All right. Another advantage I could see. So it's 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
Another advantage I could see as a potential MP or an MP running for re-election, which could also be a disadvantage, is that if you're, let's say, a liberal, you're not only like Todd Lever, that's who's running for our Liberal Party, but you're representing the liberal brand, so people might vote for you because you're representing that brand,
But you don't necessarily
despite
believe in their, yeah.
what they think about you.
That's kind of a disadvantage, right? In the sense that, well, to me, anyways, I think because if you're,
Well, like this specific example, you mean?
well, I'm not going to elaborate about my specific thoughts on local original politics, but I mean, it could be an advantage or it could be a disadvantage. Because you could have a candidate who's really liberal and who represents the liberal values that the party represents, or you could have a candidate that's conservative that doesn't really fall in line with the rest of the party, and in that case, that might be problematic. Especially if you elect him on his personal views, if the constituents elect him on just on what they think he wants to do. Because in a federal system, in a party system,
Constituents, that what does that mean?
constituents are residents of the community. Um, like
That let's say right now we have Charlie Angus as our
he's our
MP,
MP.
so he represents us as constituents.
Yeah, we're his constituents because he's
Okay.
our representative at the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. So yeah, you might elect, let's say, Todd Lever on the views because he ran for mayor here, so you might elect him on the stuff that he he ran on in the mayoral election. But the reality of it is he'll have to face and vote along the party lines on a number of bills and items that are going to pass through the House of Commons. So you have to take that into consideration in a party system.
So yeah, that leads me to like this is my biggest disagreement with the party system. Not saying that I like don't stand for it or that I'm for or against it, but leads me to the question. So what happens with this party line stuff, right? So if we what I'll just say like if we elect Angus again and the NDP forms a government, and then there's an issue here in Timmins where the general or Timmins James Bay I should say where the general population doesn't like thinks one way and Tom Mulcair, the NDP leader, thinks the other way, or the NDP caucus in general thinks the other way, and it's an issue that they vote on party lines. So you like, how do you reconcile that? Like, where it kind of feels like your MP is not representing you, but representing his party.
I mean, I'm going to say that any system has its faults. He might choose to abstain from the vote, which means like he might not go to the House of Commons that day, and he might just not vote on it because he doesn't want to vote against his constituents.
Wait, so they can just choose not to go to work whenever they want?
No, he'll still be working. his job is not just to attend the House of Commons. He might be here in
So, but it's not mandatory to be at the House of
There's a
Commons, but it's
certain
still.
amount of days that you have to attend the House of Commons per term. So per session of Parliament, there's a certain amount of days that you have to attend.
Interesting.
Well, if you notice, if you ever watched it on TV, there's always empty seats, right?
Yeah, and I've heard that leaders often have poor attendance records, especially on election years, because they're
the campaign trail.
Well, because because there's supposed to only be like a certain campaign time, but that's not the window. They've been campaigning for like a year and a half now.
Unofficially, yeah. But at the same time, like the Prime Minister, obviously, is not going to be there all the time either, because he has to meet with other world leaders. He has to go do other stuff, right? So he'll have, and it's the same thing when you have like a minister and he can't be there, then the minister will appoint somebody to represent him.
4 minutes left.
To represent him on that issue in the House that day. So I mean, there's very few countries that don't have party systems. We have a multi-party system instead of a bi-party system like in the United States, which means that we have a lot of political parties.
Well, in the United States, they're not like they could, in theory, have another party. It's not like ingrained in their constitution that they have two parties. It's just really tough.
It'd be hard.
And looking at Canada too, historically, we've never had a government that wasn't conservative or liberal. It might change, but
yeah, exactly. The Conservative Party has changed multiple times and has amalgamated. The NDP is the opposition now.
Yeah,
like there's been the Bloc Québécois who has had a lot of seats for some period.
Yeah, well, they could never form a government though.
No, they couldn't form a government, but just having, I think they were the third party, the last term before the last election, was Conservative, Liberal, and then the Bloc Québécois had the third largest amount of seats.
All right, so I listened to an interview with Elizabeth May on Canada Land Commons, and she said there's a bylaw in the Green Party charter that says there is no such thing as party line. There's no like caucus deciding that your party votes. There's only 2 MPs, by the way, but what do you think about that? Like if it were to scale to a bigger party, or if the Green Party were to scale and gain more seats and run that way?
I don't really like it, just because, like I say, it's going to cause delays in the way the system works if it's scaled. With the current Green Party, it's fine because there's only 2 of them, so they've just reached consensus. They probably, even though formally they don't have a party line, they probably talk and they probably agree on most of the issues because of the nature of the Green Party.
Yeah.
So, to me, for the Green Party, it works. If they were to scale, form a government, it would be very hard to legitimize.
All right. How much time we got left here? 1 minute.
Last minute of play.
So what should I ask you then? Can't ask you who you think should win an election. I just had a question on TV. It's ticking down. It's ticking down. I call the buzzer on that one.